really wanted to control other people, you would first master controlling yourself first.
Yeah, 100%.
Because if you can't control, like for example, being a leader is literally you controlling yourself to a certain extent where you perform better than other people around you, and then from there, because you're naturally better in this environment, you're the leader. All I have to do is just understand the people, like what are they doing, what are they feeling? Are they feeling greedy or are they feeling fearful? If they're feeling fearful, they will sell. If they're feeling greedy or they feel like they want price to go higher, they'll buy it.
Using all of those indicators, saying, hey, this company in a couple of weeks, they have this. That's why people have insiders in companies.
Yep.
That's why people are literally staring at the company financials and the trailing months so they can make an educated decision on, getting that option contract.
Yeah. But most people think, oh, I gotta win every single time in order to be successful. And it's like, no, you just need to make more every time you win in comparison to how many times. Like that's like,
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Pure Intentions Podcast, where we believe living intentionally is living better. Today, we have a very special episode, but before we get into this, make sure you go back and watch our first lady episode, or our lady guest episode, which was episode 9. It was a great conversation talking about real estate, talking about changing courses in the middle of your life and things of that nature. And I'm sure you'll love it. But today we have a very, very special guest. But before we get into that, my name is David. I am your host.
I'm Cyrus.
And we are the Pure Intentions Podcast. And it's just us two today. Go text Justin and Cyrus. Hi. Go tell them to come on.
Okay.
But yeah, man. So as you see today, we have a very special guest. My man, Ashan. We've had one conversation before. We were on live, but that conversation, honestly, I feel like we could have had the entire day for real. Like it was just things we were both interested in, and I found a lot of similarities, and I really appreciated that conversation. So, man, this is our guest, Ashan. He is into trading, business, and you guys can learn a lot from him. So, Ashan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. So what's good, y'all? My name is CEO Ashan. So I'm an options and futures trader, and I am also an entrepreneur. If I had to describe myself, I think my goal is to simplify trading and make as many traders successful as possible. Just showing people like entrepreneurship and everything, including trading, business can be simple. Like if you just do what you're supposed to do. And just like, I think most people, they're not taught about entrepreneurship right. They're not taught about trading right. So I think because we're young, I think we look at it from a simple perspective instead of adults and stuff like that. So I feel like that's my goal.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh. That's very, very cool. But to just start off, could you give us like a quick story of a time that you made an intentional action or an intentional decision and it impacted your life in a, very positive or a very negative way?
Yeah. I think that was actually when I was first getting into entrepreneurship, it was definitely a lot of conflict with my parents. They wanted me to go to college. My mom got a master's degree. My dad got a master's degree as well. So they provided the life that I have from going to college and stuff like that. So they obviously wanted, and they also knew I was smart because I always got good grades and stuff like that. And I always did want to go to college. But then I think COVID hit, and then I was at home, and I was like, all right. So I was playing video games and stuff like that. I was hanging with my friends, and then you sit with yourself a little bit, and it's like, okay, what do I want to do in my life beyond this point? And then I kept seeing entrepreneurship. I kept seeing people make a lot of money and stuff, and I was like, if they can do it, I can do it, right? But I kept seeing adults and stuff like that, and then eventually I started seeing younger people. I started looking up, all right, 18-year-old entrepreneur making millions of dollars, 17-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old. And I started coming across entrepreneurs like across the United States that were making millions and millions of dollars. And they were like, I think the youngest person I saw was Trey Brown. He was, I think, 12 or 13 years old.
Oh, my goodness.
I saw that video. He did the podcast with David Shands. And I saw that. I was like, bro, he retired his mom, made this much money. And I'm like,
Bro, not even in high school.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, my thing, I literally said, bro, he hasn't hit puberty yet. And I'm like, but that literally sparked something in me like, all right, I know I can do it now. Now there's no excuse. So I buckled down. I said, all right, let's figure this out. So I had to pick something though. Because it was like, I didn't know if I wanted to do a clothing brand, real estate, trading. There were so many different things you could do. So I had to figure out, okay, what is that thing I'm going to do? And I was testing different things out. But as I was testing things out, it was in conflict with school. So because it was in conflict with school and stuff like that.
You were in college at this time?
No, I was in high school. So I was in my 11th grade year going into 12th grade, right? So the new year I started and I was already getting into this entrepreneur space. But then school started. So I had to, I still had to go to school. I still had to not go in person, but I still had online classes and stuff. Eventually, I stopped necessarily showing up to some of the classes and stuff like that and just doing, because I'm like, why would I go to the class if I could do this, or if I could study some more, if I can get a little bit more practice in.
Right.
And some of my grades started to slip and stuff like that. And then my parents saw it and they were like, all right, like, what is going on? They thought something was weird because I was very isolated at the time. I was very in my room and I didn't tell them what was going on. Then eventually I told them I wanted to do entrepreneurship and stuff like that. And they said, oh, you could do that in college. And then I was like, not really. Like, I knew that college, there's no reason to be going to a university spending thousands of dollars for something that's not going to make me that much money. I might as well spend that on courses or mentorships or masterminds and stuff like that if I'm going to spend that much money. And that's what I did, actually, over the next couple of years. But I tested multiple things out. So I tried the clothing brand. Then I was like, I'm not really good at marketing. Then I tried... what's the next thing I tried? Wholesale and real estate. And with that, I was 17. I almost got a deal, but the person... So, okay, for those who don't know what wholesale and real estate is, it's basically where somebody has a property, right? And they're willing to essentially sell it, right? But you're basically getting it from them and selling it to somebody else. So you're basically the middleman. I'm going to get it from, let's say you got a house for, like, it's down bad and stuff like that, and you need to fix it up. You got it for $40,000. I say, all right, bet. It's worth 50, but I'll pay 40 to you, sell it to somebody else for 50, and then I'll make $10,000 difference.
Gotcha.
So that's what I was doing. And I did that, but I got to the end and the buyer cut me out of the deal. I found him on Facebook and stuff like that. He cut me out of the deal entirely because, I was young at the time, so I didn't know any better. So he cut me out the deal. And I was like, dang. Okay, I got to find something where I don't have to interact with nobody.
Gotcha.
I can just focus on the skill, and then the skill will be able to nurture me. And then from there, I'll be able to build it without relying on anybody else. So that's when I found trading. I'm like, oh, wait, you telling me I can sit in my room, basically play video games, essentially, and then make all this money. So I was like, you know what? I think that's what I'm going to do. And then I invested into a mentor. So that mentor was Wall Street Trapper. I got it wasn't even trading. It was like his stock course, like how to understand a company, if the value of it's going to go up or down. So I used that to place my first trade. I had $500, not that much money. And I took that and I turned that into $2,041 in about 2 weeks. And I sold it on my birthday. So like I sold it 2 weeks later. My birthday, January 10th.
You made $2,000 in two
weeks. I placed the trade and then I just waited. Yeah. What the hell? And I was 17, turning 18.
First one?
First one. Because I did a whole bunch of...
That's crazy.
First one is crazy.
That's crazy.
It was crazy.
That's the benefits of having a mentor.
What stock was it? What option?
It was Neo. I was traded. It's a EV company. So it was like $49, right? And I saw that they had news events coming up. I saw that they were about to release a new vehicle. I saw they had earnings coming up. I saw there were so many things that were gonna drive the value of it up. So it's almost like, you ever have an event, like a mastermind or something like that, right? And let's say it's a really private VIP event. They might market the tickets a little cheaper, right, in the beginning. And then as more demand increases for it, like closer to the event, they'll increase prices because they don't want as many people coming because everybody else got the pre-sale tickets. They got them already. But now that everybody getting in, demand increases. Now the price of it increases. Yeah. Now you can't just get in at that price. So since it was $49, now news and stuff like that was coming in. Now investors wanted to get a part of that, so price increased. So I got into so with options trading, in order to make money, you can do calls or puts. So calls is basically betting on the stock going up. Puts is betting on the stock going down. So I thought it was going to go up. So I said, bet, I'm going to get a call. So I placed a $44 call, as in I'm betting that the price of NEO is going to be higher than $44 by the time this expires. Okay. That's basically what I was saying. So I said, all right, it's going to be above this price. And then as it keeps going higher and higher and higher, the value of my options contract increases. Right. So it went from $49 to $66. And then from there, I sold it. At that point, when I sold it, I was up either 300 or 400% or something like that. And I sold it for $2,041. I put $580 in it. Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Wow.
It was crazy.
And that literally shows you the power of options.
I was like, oh, I'm done. I'm done.
And it's really like, sometimes you can't take like a for sure risk. Like, you don't know that the contract is going to go up or down, or that your call or put is going to actually, transpire into something. But using all of those indicators, saying, hey, this company in a couple of weeks, they have this. That's why people have insiders in companies.
Yep.
That's why people are literally staring at the company financials and the trailing months so they can make an educated decision on, getting that option contract. Yeah. But so like after, how did that feel? Like when you, on your first trade, because look, my first trade, I want to say I did it on a firm.
A firm? Okay.
And I lost that whole thing.
Oh, dang. Was it a day trade or a swing trade? Day trade as in
swing.
Swing, so it was longer than a day.
Yeah.
So you got it on Monday and sold it on
maybe like a 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay. So you sold it Monday of February 1st and then sold it
honestly,
February.
This was at a time where a firm was just not doing right by me, bro. Like I put a call on it, but it went down. So
yeah. Okay. What do you think caused it to? What do you think caused you to lose?
I was only doing it to try it. I won't lie to you. Like it was no educational decision. It was literally just, okay, I like a firm. I owned a firm stock. I maybe had like 5 or 6 shares of a firm. And I was just like, hey, let me put an option on it. You know what I'm saying?
I believe this company. You know what? I'm gonna put a call on it.
Exactly. Yeah. But it was literally just to try it. Cause like, bro, you said something very, very important that I want people to catch. Doing something where you don't have to interact with people.
Yep.
That is very, very possible now. And honestly, like I'm at a point right now where I'm trying to reevaluate everything that I'm doing. And I'm like, bro, do I really want to work with clients all the time?
Yeah.
Like just the opportunity cost of having a product, having a community, having something that I can just put marketing behind and it generate income. Or doing something like stocks and options.
Isn't that still interacting with people though?
In a way, it depends how you do it. Like, let's say you're small enough to where your product, you have to talk to your customers that are buying your product.
Yeah.
Or if you already have an audience, then you just create a bunch of content, have that rolling over a few months, 6 months, and have some type of automation behind it so you don't have to deal with it. That's true. That's a thing.
It's the lever that you're pulling, like that. I don't think, and this is my thing. At that time, I didn't want to talk to nobody. So I had like the friends that I was talking to and stuff like that. I had like 20 friends that I was talking to from my school, and I've stopped talking to them as much because they were, again, the whole thing was video games, partying, having fun and stuff like that. And I was like, that's not what I'm on right now. Yeah. Like this is a completely different thing. So I needed like a whole new set of friends that align with business. Like that align with trying to get me to my goal of, all right, I'm trying to make some money. I'm trying to move out to Atlanta. I had these goals now and I was trying to consume myself in it. So that's why I took it off. But I think that but I realized that at the time, I just wanted a skill where the lever was pulled by me, not pulled by anybody else that I was associated with. Not that I didn't like anybody, but I just wanted something where even at a young age, I can still pull this lever and I still do it. Even for you, with your business, it's not necessarily that you have a problem with people. It's more so that the financial trauma that you've associated with working with certain entrepreneurs or certain people, and they may have taken advantage of you, or maybe you've done a lot of work for little money. So it's like, dang, I don't feel like doing this again. I don't feel like dealing with this. But you'll interact with people that like maybe are in your community or get with your products or something like that to learn from you, because you can associate with those people, because it's more so like they are coming to you because they see the value and there's respect along with that. Some people, they don't have that respect.
Yeah. I think that the difference between that interaction with someone in your community and a service person is just the obligation, the level of obligation, the intensity of obligation. So my clients, if I do not message them back, it's raps. Like I'm gonna either lose them as a client, I'm gonna get a bad review, my reputation messed up.
Yeah.
But if someone's in my community and they asking me, this is stuff that I built a community on, so I already know it. Like it's nothing crazy that I have to do to give you this information. So if I'm just sending a message and that's it, I don't have to deliver you deliverables. I don't have to give you a consultation.
Yeah.
I don't have to offboard you or onboard you. Like I feel like it's just less energy, and the output is more long term, because while I have this company paying me for just this month, this person I'm building a relationship with them where I'm giving them, I'm helping them get a result. So they're going to be with me for a little bit longer.
I think so. I will say that it's the community aspect and working with a client. It's still the same. Like there's still onboarding, offboarding process of it, whether it's they leave or something like that, or even if somebody's in your community not doing what they're supposed to do and you got to remove them yourself, or even if there's like you have 100 people in your community and so many of them are texting you and stuff like that, and it's like, dang, you even if you're not obligated, you feel the obligation to like text them back and stuff like that. Me personally, I feel that way. Yeah. So it's not necessarily the difference between the interactions and stuff like that. It's more so the type of it's the type of interaction that it is in terms of how the business is structured. So like community is one to many versus a client is one to one. Now, one to many is like it's you with multiple people. If the system works where you can do something once and then it impacts a lot of people, that's different than if you were doing one to one and then one to one and then one to one and one to one. It's like there's multiple lanes instead of just one lane where it's multiple people. Yeah. And that can be systematized differently. I think it's still going to be the same work. Well, I'll say this. It's going to be the same work in the beginning, but the end result, if structured properly, is way better. Exactly. It's way better than doing one-on-one.
And that's what I mean by like this month number 1 of working with this client and month number 9 are probably going to look the exact same because they're getting the same things at the end of the month. But if on month 1, I build out that community to a point where I do have automations in, I got moderators, I got people that can run it for me. When they join the Discord, I get them to this page. This page opens up all of these pages. Yep. So on month 9, I don't have to do much except pop in and you know what I'm saying? So I just was looking at the opportunity cost between those because like, okay, I think last time we spoke, I was talking about I was working on a course, which that's still happening, but I just slowed down on it because I had shifted my focus to just clients. But now I'm at the time where I'm like, dang, if I want to be an educator, I think that can bring a little bit less stress to my life. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Which I don't live a stressful life. Like I don't complain. I don't nothing. My clients are not stressful, nothing. But I just mean on a general sense of what stress feels like. You got pressure. You know what I'm saying? So I was just saying that it could be a little bit easier to work with people on a product side, not necessarily consumer products, but on a digital product side rather than services. Yeah, because you're adding more value to people. Like now you can add the value to them, and now you create, instead of creating, let's just say, like 6 figures worth of value for you, you're creating 6 figures worth of value for other people. What's it called? Like 60 people, 600 people, 6,000 people, right? And now it's like a one-to-many thing. And now the beautiful thing about it is when you add value to them, now they're going to share it with other people. Yeah. And now it just grows exponentially at that point. Because if you get 2 people and then they tell 2 more people, that's 4, and then 8, and then 16, and then 32, and then it just keeps going. With clients, it's like you can, yes, in the beginning, it's like, okay, bet I'm doing this work. And at a certain point, it's like, okay, cool, this is good for me. Mm-hmm. But then after a certain time, like it's still. It's linear. Like, is this sustainable? Do I want to keep doing this for a long period of time? Yeah. And like I've done it. I've been doing it for 10 years. So it's like, bro, like, what do I want to do? And really, I was just like, dang, do I want to do content? Do I want to do all this? And I've been consistent with content. I've been consistent with services. I've been consistent with digital products, low key.
Yeah.
But like to focus on it, you know what I'm saying? Because when you got your hand pointed at 3 different things, it can really only point at one.
Facts.
So if I could pick that one thing and just be okay with it, like, but I'm really trying to do content creation because that's what I was doing when I didn't know about the world. Like when I was a kid, that's what I was doing. That's what got me into graphic design was content creation. Why don't I go back to that? And the thing is with content creation, so if you're making money on content creation, it's kind of like you're making money being yourself.
Yeah, you are. Like that's because I know some people put on personas, but it's like, bro, just be yourself.
Like just be like, bro, why would you want a fake community that you have to uphold? That's worse than having a client. You got to fake yourself every day to uphold an audience.
I mean, they're used to jobs. I mean, I'm pretty sure they can handle faking like who they are. I mean, they didn't like their job. I mean, they don't like.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they don't know. Because I think most people make things harder than they actually are. Yeah. I mean, like, even for trading, I realized, like, this is not difficult. Like, it's not hard to learn. I think the problem, and I realized this too, even with teaching and stuff like that, I realized people are having the same problems. Like, I was talking to people, and they were having the same issues. Like, they understood the strategy. I asked them, like, this is one thing I realized, and I think most traders suffer with this, including me at one point, and even still now in certain cases, the Solomon's paradox. So I don't know if y'all are familiar with King Solomon from the Bible, but he was basically one of the wisest kings ever. God made him wise and stuff like that. He was extremely wealthy and stuff, and he gave great advice to other people. However, he didn't take that same advice in his own life. So everybody else around him was good because he was helping them out. But in his real life, he was having trouble with women, having trouble with like his life at home and stuff like that. And then eventually he got turned away from God. So it's like, interesting how he
like
so
had
wise.
Everything and lost it all.
Yeah,
right?
He had everything and lost it all because he was giving advice to other people that he wasn't taking. If he took the advice he gave to other people, if he took the wisdom he gave to other people, he would literally be great. But he didn't apply it, and eventually that was his downfall. And I think that's what people, but like studies have shown, that's what people suffer with too. Have you ever seen somebody give relationship advice, but they're single? And they sometimes, it's like, they actually, and then they call themselves like they be the connector. They be putting people together and stuff. Yeah. But it's like, bro,
you're the connector.
How do you get it connected? But it's like, that's real though. Some people be putting people together, but they are not. It's like, so if I ask somebody, for example, like, what would you do if you want to lose weight? And it's like, oh, well, I would eat less and I would work out more. Okay, well, are you doing that in your own life? Yeah. No. So, but you're complaining about, I don't like the way my body looks and stuff like that. Yeah. You know the answer, but you're not doing it. Right. Yeah. And it's easier, but obviously it's not, that obviously isn't the problem. It's not about what you know and what you don't know. It's about
applying yourself.
Correct.
Got you.
Like when a person can call out another person's faults without calling out their own, I think that is a prerequisite to a mindset like that, where you can consistently just give advice and never grow on your own from that advice. Like that's one of the things that I feel like plagues the world right now. It's like you got a bunch of people that are 300 pounds talking about go lose some weight. And that's just an analogy. That's just an analogy. You got traders that have only made $500 talking about, let me show you how to make 10,000.
Yep.
And that stuff, okay, you may know that information, but for you to enact it and you to go through those experiences and then learn new information from the experiences, 2 different things.
Yeah.
Knowledge without experience is literally just half the equation.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you know it, it's an interesting thing, because if you know it, that's already half the battle done. Like now it's just, you know it, now do it, now implement it, now apply it. And
but what stops them from doing that? From taking the extra step, from knowing it and then having that little bridge to actually doing it? Like, why can't they cross that bridge? What happens?
So if you just, people do things for one reason and one reason only, because they feel like it. If you got up this morning, why? Because you felt like it. I got up this morning, why? Because I felt like it. If I felt like staying in bed more than I felt like getting up, I would have stayed in bed, right?
Because that's what you actually did.
Correct. Because that's human desire is everything, right? So if you desire something, you're going to pursue it. Like, it's like asking your mom, like a mother, like, oh, will you go save this random person? It's like, but if it's your child, oh yeah, I'm definitely saving my child. Yeah. Why? Because the desire is stronger than your desire to protect yourself. Yeah. So even if you're in danger, if the desire is to protect the child more than you feel like taking care of yourself, you're going to do it. Yeah. So people only do things because they feel like it. So if you only do things because you feel like it and you know how to do it, why aren't you doing it? Your habits or what you're going through. Okay, I'll say this. What you're used to, your habits are stronger than your desire to actually get it. Whatever your goal is, if your habits are stronger than your desires, you won't get it. So if you're used to, for example, if your desire is to stop smoking, but the habit is smoking, if the habit is stronger than your desire to quit, you're going to keep doing it.
Exactly.
And you'll never stop.
That's what I was just saying last episode. People just need to accept the fact that they don't want it bad enough.
Yep.
Yeah. Like,
you don't want it for real.
I gaslight people all the time. I'm like, yo, you just don't want it. And it's like, but I do want it. And I'm like, all right.
You don't. Because if you wanted it, you would have did it.
Correct.
Like, just like how you said, the thing that actually happened was all three of us got out of bed. But if we had a stronger desire to stay in bed, one of us would not be here.
Correct.
But that's not what actually happened. But when we look at you, you're giving advice and you're not enacting it.
Yep.
That doesn't happen because you lack the desire for it. You lack the sufficient amount of desire.
Amount of desire, yeah. Because I was saying they might want it, but they don't want it more than their habits.
You don't want it more than the comfortability of your mind state right now where you haven't made that action.
Because it's easier. I mean, like, we revert back to what's simple. So that's why, like, even with trading, what made me... I've been shifting my focus for trading more so, not even on, like, the technical side, because I realized that I was studying multiple traders, because at one point, that was me. Yeah. I was, like, one of my friends... Like, I had different friends and family members, right? And this is when I first started. Right? I was helping them. I had one of my friends make 7,000, another friend make 4, another friend make 2. And I was like, bro, I'm great at this teaching stuff. So I started studying other trades and stuff like that and teaching. And it's not that I couldn't teach. I just didn't make enough at that time. So I made a certain amount, but I should have made more. I should have done it a little bit longer first and stuff like that. But I was like, you know what? We just try it out. If it don't work, it don't work. So I taught them how to do it. And then as I was going through that process, I was studying other traders. And when I studied other traders, I realized there were successful traders that had different strategies. Mm-hmm. So it's like everybody's saying like, oh, this is the best strategy ever with trading. This is the best one ever, right? And I'm like, I kept hopping from strategy to strategy, testing out, is this the best one? Is this the best one? Is this the one that's going to get me to that 6-figure, 7-figure mark? And I was going through them and I'm like, I realized you can be successful with all of them. Yeah. Because there's one person successful with it. There's another person successful with it. There's another person successful with something different. Like, I can call out multiple different traders that use completely different ways of trading, but they make 7 figures, 8 figures. And I was like, okay, so what is the common thing between all of them if it's not the strategy? And I realized it's who they are. Is to realize the character traits inside of them. So one of the things is confidence. They don't care about the money. To a certain extent, they don't care about the money. Like, so my mentor, Wall Street Trapper, right? He got to a point where he doesn't care about, like, he's been to jail before. He's been shot at before. He's been in the streets. Why he mad about losing some money? Yeah. Well, he loses some money compared to getting shot at, compared to getting in jail. It's like, that's nothing. It's like, I ain't tripping about losing some money. I'm in this game. Like, that's where his mindset is. I'm in this game for the game itself, for investing itself, for trading itself, because that's what, I mean, this is nothing compared to, like, it's almost like getting like pinched versus getting like freaking punched. Like, there's a completely difference. And losing money isn't nothing. Like, if you lose $1,000, are you gonna die?
No.
If you lose $10,000, are you gonna die?
You're not gonna
die.
die.
You're gonna be upset, but you're not gonna die.
Right.
It's like it's not that bad.
Right.
But most traders, because they've been through a lot of financial trauma or they're not used to having a lot of money, they go through this process where money is life or death. Yeah. Because again, if they're one paycheck off from leaving their job, they're one paycheck away from paying a bill, they're one paycheck away from taking care of their car or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. So they're always on the brink. So when they try to trade, it might not be the strategy that's the problem, it's their ability to execute on what they already know. Mm-hmm. So they might learn the strategy, but they don't execute it properly. Why? Because they got a bill coming up.
They scared of that risk.
Exactly.
I don't want to lose this money. I got bills to pay.
So now they start adjusting the strategy unconsciously in a survival mechanism to protect himself.
Got you, and that strategy don't work.
Exactly.
Got you.
And those are the things that we don't see when
Yep.
we subconsciously change things or make certain actions. Like, I feel like those are the things that you need to pay attention to the most, because those are your habits.
But how do you pay attention to that though? I mean, you can't like. It's easy
Self-awareness.
to.
Look, every situation. So, okay, why am I crossing my arms right now? That's a specific situation that I can analyze and work through to figure out why I make that action.
True.
It may not be a habit. It may be a habit. I'll figure that out when I deep dive into it. But that's what people need to do, is just be alone. Just evaluate your mindset.
But there's people that don't. We're like, there's certain people that are gifted in looking at that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for example, my arm is on this armrest, and one hand is sitting right here, just dangling off my leg, right? I'm just positioned this way. And then I'm also positioning myself like this instead of leaning forward or leaning back.
Exactly.
Like, all of that stuff is, we do it automatically. So it's very difficult to pay attention to something that's automatic because we're used to it. Like, we don't think about it.
Yeah, so start thinking about it.
But it's easier said than done. Like, okay.
Is it though?
Yeah.
If I can consciously look at everything in my surroundings, there's a TV, there's paintings, there's cameras, there's all of those things, then I can consciously look at my actions, even if I've just right after I made that action, I can do that.
You can do it. Like, there's a difference between most people. You got to remember their environment also dictates their behavior as well. Because like for me, the environment I was in before with school and stuff like that, I would have never thought about like different things that I think about now. I had to learn how to think from people that were thinking better than me. So I had to, watching podcasts over and over again of billionaires, millionaires, and how they think. I had to start thinking, like, for example, being a visionary is a completely different thought process than thinking on autopilot. Yeah. Like, most people are thinking on autopilot, or like, and I'll break that down a little bit more, right? I learned this from Daniel Priestley. He said there's three types of people.
Him, bro.
He is fire.
Phenomenal.
He said there's three types of mode: reptile mode, autopilot, and then visionary. So reptile mode is you just self-sabotage. You're just like, it's almost like it's an animal instinct where, again, you're just in survival mode constantly. You're always like, it's almost self-sabotage almost. Yeah. Autopilot is just, you have a repeat mechanism that if it's broken, you just can't function. So if you, like, for example, if you need to wake up every single day and do like a 3-hour morning routine, if you don't do that 3-hour morning routine, you're done. It's like, right. Like, because you have a pattern, you need to respect that pattern. Visionaries is more so, all right, even if something happens, how can I think of a way to get out of the situation? So like most people, if they lose, let's say, for example, they're paycheck to paycheck, right? And they might lose like some money on their paycheck and they're not able to pay a bill. And they're like, dang, I don't know how to pay this bill, And then they beat themselves up, right? A visionary says, all right, I lost $100 or something like that. All right, how am I going to get $100? All right, maybe I can wash somebody's car. Maybe I can go do this. Maybe I can go do that. But that's a mindset that you have to have. And some people have it when they're like, we had that as children, but then it gets beaten out of us when we're adults. Yeah. When we get older and we grow and we're in the environment that we're in. Naturally, as children, we're like that. But then we slowly grow out of it. So I understand that for most people, even when it comes to trading, entrepreneurship, it's very difficult for them because they don't think that way. They went from just having a job, they went from just being in this place to now they have to run a business. Now they have to be creative. Now, if they're in these situations, they don't realize they're in these situations constantly. Where it's like, I got to figure something out because that's your job. But if you're not training yourself to think that way, it's going to be extremely difficult. Like you can, but you have to, again, you have to break yourself out of what you were previously in to get to that point.
You have to intentionally break yourself out of it.
Gotcha.
But after you do that, you can think about the actions that you're taking, because that's what I had to do. I had to begin to open my mind to the fact that I can observe my actions in a third person point of view and change them if I choose to change them. And that's kind of what started me off in personal development and changing my actions, changing my habits. So yeah, dang, bro.
Yeah, I ain't even think about, I know that's because I think about that all the time. Like, I really, like, Solomon was the wisest person. Like, literally, he asked God for wisdom and he lost it all. And he was the wisest person, he still lost it all. So now it's like, you think to yourself, if you're that wise, then most people will look at that and be like, oh, dang. So being smart is a bad thing. Like, being intelligent, being wise is a bad thing. It's the problem. When you're wise, then you go down this path. No, you can be wise, and he still had everything. Like I saw, like even the way he was when he was wise, he did amazing things. Like he built like the temple, he was solving problems, stuff like that in the kingdom and stuff like that. So he was good. It was just his personal life. So what was the answer to fixing his personal life? Apply the wisdom that he was giving other people to himself. That's it. That's all he had to do. It's not that he wasn't capable of doing it. He just didn't do it. Like it's really as simple
It had
as
to be a
doing it.
reason though.
No, but the reason literally was like, again, because it's like, okay, for example, the way our eyes work, I can see you right now. I can see you right now, but I can't see myself. So I don't know what my hair looks like. I don't know what the microphone on my head looks like. I don't know how I'm positioned. I literally need another camera to show me what I look like. But my natural thing when I wake up, when I look at people and stuff like that, the first thing I see is everything else except me. I can't see myself. I literally have to be in the mirror. You look at the world and your environment more than you look in the mirror.
Right.
So if that's how you train yourself to think, now you're going to think externally rather than internally. Yeah. We care about other people more than ourselves. Parents work that way. Like, again, mothers care more about their children than themselves. So that they take care of their children, but then their health declines or something like that. Or they don't take care of themselves spiritually or mentally or physically. Yeah. That's just with everybody.
Wow. That's crazy. So what was, in terms of just trading habits, what was one trading habit that you acquired that you found out that you had to get rid of it in order for you to get to the next level?
Fear.
Fear
Was, I think just fear in general. Like so there's multiple different forms of fear, like fear of missing out, fear of being wrong, fear of winning. Like fear of winning is also a weird thing, like, or fear of losing. Like fear of winning is more so like, okay, I'm fearful of, okay, I'll do fearful of losing first and I'll do fearful of winning. Fearful of losing is, all right, when this thing is down a certain amount, all right, bet. I don't want to lose any more than this. I'm just going to get out the trade. Even though your trade said, all right, bet. Let's say you put $100 in the trade. When you lose 10% of that, so like $10, then get out of the trade. But you got out at 5%. You didn't follow your strategy. Your strategy said 10%. You did 5%, right? And then you don't follow it. And then when you get out at that point, if you had held it to 10%, it wasn't even going to go down to 10%. It was probably going to go down to 7% and then go up to 80%. And you would have made money. And then that's what happens where it's like, dang, I could have made X, Y, and Z if I just this. And then you keep, it's a loop. Yeah. So
then next time you be like, okay, let me try it.
And then when you try to do it again, sometimes it doesn't go in your favor. And then from there, you go on this back and forth thing of what am I supposed to do? Yeah. When in reality, it's just, have a set system and then just follow it every single time, whether you win or lose. And the system will do all the work. Yeah. So like, for example, like a strategy that I tell people all the time, most of the time, is have a risk to reward of like 1 to 5. Meaning if you enter a trade, risk $1 to make $5. And it doesn't matter how you spend it, whether you're risking $100 to make $500, whether you're risking 10% to make 50%, 100% to make 500%. I don't care. Just make sure it's 1 to 5, no matter what you do. If you make it 1 to 5, and let's say you have a win rate of 40%. So let's say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If I win Monday and Tuesday, I won 2 times. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I lose 3 times. So 2 out of 5 total days of the week that I can trade, I won 2 out of 5. That's 40%. Exactly. So if I win, okay, bet. If I have a 1 to 5 risk to reward, let's say I'm using $100. All right, cool. Let's say I'm risking $100 to make $500. On Monday, I make $500 because remember, I'm risking $100 to make $500. So I can only lose $100 and I can only make $500, right? On Monday, I make $500. On Tuesday, I make $500. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, remember, I lose. So the max that I can lose is what? $100. So Wednesday, I lose $100. Thursday, I lose $100. Friday, I lose $100.
You still up.
I'm still up. Exactly. I'm up 1,000 minus the 100, so 300. So now I'm up $700. But most people think, oh, I got to win every single time in order to be successful. And it's like, no, you just need to make more every time you win in comparison to how many times. Like that's like, for example, like I'll tie it to business, getting clients, for example. Like let's say for you, it's like, all right, bet. Let's say
customer acquisition.
Spend
$100 to make $500.
To make $500. So if I spend $100 to get 10 clients or something, like to get 10 phone calls with clients, my goal is to make $500 on this. If let's say you have to do 10 phone calls to get 1 client, right? And that's just how it works. So no matter how many 10 people you call, you're always going to get one person that's going to say yes, right? If you say, all right, bet, I'm going to spend $100 to get at least one client to say yes to me. All right, bet. What price do I need them to say yes at for me to, like, that's good for me? At least over $100, but at least you rather have $500.
Yeah.
That way, if you make $500 from them and you spent $100, that's $400, quote unquote, in profit that you make. Exactly. And then from there, guess what? You got $400 to do what? Do that again. Exactly. Now you can get
the
40
next
contacts.
The next 3-4 sets.
Yep.
I can not get a client and I'll net zero.
Exactly. And even if you don't like, and then since you have $400 now, because remember you spent $100 to make $5. Exactly. Now you got $400. You could take the $400 now and get, instead of getting 10 contacts, now you can get 40 contacts to call. And then 4 of those people are going to say yes to you. Exactly. And if 4 of them say yes, then that's $2,000. And guess what? Now you got $2,000. That's you got $2,000 in profit. You spent $400 to get them, $1,600. Now you got $1,600 to go get what? 160 clients. And then you just keep going and compounding. That's the same thing with business. That's the same thing with trading. You just, if your risk to reward is good, then it just compounds naturally. Like, so that the way I broke that down, it don't matter if you win on Monday and then Friday and then lose Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's still 2 to 5. I'm still winning twice, losing 3 times. I'm just dictating how much I win and how much I lose. That's all it is. And that's what I'm saying. Like, every single one of the strategies that I've learned from different people, like, I know 16 strategies, and every single one of them can do that. Every single one of them. I don't care what you use. You could do 40% win rate and risking a 1 to 5 risk to reward. It doesn't matter. Like, so if you have, but here's the problem. It's not the strategy. Can you handle those losses? So for example, if let's say your stop loss is $100, meaning you're going to stop losing at $100, right? It's a order you place to get out of the trade. Let's say your stop loss is $100. If it gets to $100 and you say, I think it can go higher, I'm going to keep holding it. Now you're down $150. The system said $100. You said $150. Now you're going against the system. Now you threw everything off. And now guess what? You're going to show up the next day.
And
fearful.
It's going to be thrown off.
Correct.
You just messed up your whole week because you didn't follow the system.
It's like, oh, I want to go to this party on Saturday, right? And the strategy you have to follow is doing these 4 chores Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at home. If you don't do these chores, then you don't go to the thing on Saturday. Monday, you do all 4 chores. Tuesday, you do all 4 chores. But Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you miss 1 chore this day, 1 chore this day, and 1 chore this day. Even if you do 3 out of 4, you still miss 1 each of these days. So you quote unquote lost. You might have the chance of going to that thing on Saturday, but you probably not. You know our parents. You ain't do this on Wednesday, you ain't do this on Thursday, and you do this on Friday. It's like, just follow your plan.
Exactly.
It's a chore list. It's like vacuum, do the dishes, clean your room, and take the dogs out. That's 4 things you got to do. The strategy, like, for example, the strategy that I took my first trade with, identify the events, identify when it's having the earnings. Is it a good company, right? Is it a good company? Like, back at the time, it was a great company. And I was like, all right, it has a lot of potential and a lot of upside. And did I do research on the company? If all 4 things of those were met, I was good. If I did, and then if I lost, I don't care. I did what I was supposed to do. I lost, cool. Okay. If I win, I did what I was supposed to do. I won, cool. Because I don't care about, it's not about winning or losing. The focus is following the strategy. If the focus is doing what you're supposed to do, you'll do what you're supposed to do. If the focus is winning or losing, you will sacrifice doing what you're supposed to do in order to get what you want, which is winning.
So basically, don't be afraid of losing.
Yep.
Don't be afraid of winning. Create a system that you can follow every single time.
And then just don't. And it's easier said than done, obviously, but it's like.
Is it? It really seems like there's literally plays. Follow this play and you gonna win.
So it's like, if I have this system, but then I got that opportunity over there. I got that opportunity that's outside of my system.
Yep.
We said that we were only going to take options on less than $200 contracts.
Yep.
But I see that contract, Tesla going crazy right now. But that contract like $600-$700.
Nah, you know what?
I'm gonna take that chance. But you just messed up your whole pool for the next week. You can't take no more trades because you just wasted all your money on something that was outside of the system.
Correct. And it's so easy to follow the system. I think. But some people are so used to their previous system that they can't adjust to the new one. The new system is just
optimize.
Yeah, because the new system before was the working mentality where it's like, all right, bet I gotta show up for someone else. I gotta do all these things. There's things you have to sacrifice. This is much simpler. Honestly speaking, in my opinion, it's simpler. All you got to do is just follow these things. It's like going back to that's why I was, honestly speaking.
It's like SOPs for trading.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's literally all it is. It's just like trading is a business. Like Wall Street trade, like all of that stuff is a business, right? So, I mean, we're trading businesses. Like it's a business of trading businesses. That's all it is. Determining the value and then just trading it. That's all we're doing. And to do that, it's a system. But it's not as complicated as running a whole business. Like it's not complicated as that. All I gotta do is just have a set strategy where I don't care if it's technical, like technical as in using the charts and stuff like that,
Analytical,
or the fundamentals, right? Just understanding the company itself. I don't care how you trade. Like again, my mentor, Wall Street Trapper, he don't use a chart, but he made, I think a week ago he made 300,000. A week before that he made 200. God. It's like he don't look at a chart.
Week, bro.
No, in a day.
Hey man, shout out Wall Street Trapper. You got too much money for me, my boy.
But it's like
that's crazy.
He found something that worked for him.
Exactly.
And most people, they have the capability, but they don't exercise the capability for a consistent amount of time. So like they might do it occasionally, but not consistently. But it's like, if you just, all you have to do is do it consistent. You know what? I just thought about this too. You know why casinos win and then gamblers lose? Gamblers have a system, right? Mm-hmm. But their system is based on how they feel. So it's like, I feel like I'm going to win
lucky.
today.
I'm feeling
lucky, right?
Yeah.
You feel like your strategy is literally based on, you have a strategy, it's just based on feeling. They have a strategy, it's just based on a system. They don't care if they win or lose. They know if we have this many gambles at this casino with this certain amount or whatever, all this back end stuff, we're going to net basically 5% a year. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a guaranteed 10% every single year because of their system. So mind you, if people come to that casino and they spend $100 million, they get 10% of that every year. So imagine, if I ask you, would you make $10 million every single year? You're like, heck yeah, I make $10 million every single year. Okay, follow a strategy. My emotions, I just want to, I want to take the opportunity. I want to take this thing. And it's like, if you can't subjugate and sacrifice how you feel in order to pursue the thing that's going to get you to what you want, you'll never get there. And it's like most people say they want it, but they don't actually know what it takes to get there. If you knew that the only thing I had to do was just follow the strategy, you would do it. Like if it was life or death, if I literally had a gun to your head and I said, all right, bet, follow the strategy or else. And then I literally didn't care if you win or lose. I just want you to follow the strategy. I literally say, I don't care if you win or lose, follow the strategy. I bet you follow the strategy then. But most people, it's not that bad because guess what? You're the only person there. It's you and your computer. No one else is like talking to you. Like most people are so used to their parents or a boss or somebody that is over them telling them what to do, or like having advisors and stuff like that telling them what to do. Like no one necessarily is doing that for you in trading.
Yeah, at all. When you up 10K, ain't nobody gonna tell you pull out.
Exactly. You gotta say, all right, I'm gonna pull out. You gotta stop it because all of it is tied to you. It's tied to, can you control your emotions and just be disciplined? Like discipline is, I thought about this too, and I told this to my mentees. I literally said, discipline is doing what it takes to get to your desired outcome. It's like I looked at it as like because I always look at it as a proportional thing. Doing what it takes to get to your desired outcome is greater than how you feel about doing it. So like most people, it's like, oh, I don't feel like doing it, so I'm not going to do it. If that emotion is stronger than your desire to actually get it done, you won't do it. If you desire to get it done over your desire, or over how you feel about it, you won't get it done.
So then the problem is the desire. Our desire is not at the higher
it's misplaced level. Yeah.
So is that at that time that we don't have enough desire, that our feelings can overrun our desires? How do we build up our desires to be able to overrun our feelings? Or do we have to shift our focus of our desires? Do we have to, like, what do you think?
I think so. I created this framework for all of my traders, like in my community and stuff like that. And I made them go through this. It's a 5-step thing. I call it the full cycle framework. So the first step that I have them do, like it's not even anything trading related. It's literally the first thing I have them do is highlight their desire. So like the first one part of it is desire. What do you ultimately want? So I literally asked them, go down the line. What do you want? Oh, I want to make $10,000 a month. And I told them go big. So go big or go home. They said 10,000 a month. Somebody said 100,000 a month. Somebody said $1 million a year. Somebody said they want to get this type of car. Somebody said they want to get this type of house. Somebody said they want to take care of their family. Somebody said this. So all these things, right? It costs a lot of money, right? I said, cool. That's what your desire is. Now I asked them, the next part is, okay, cool. Like all of these things are amazing. Now the next part is current habits. What are you currently doing? And now they say what they're currently doing. And I ask them, and I make them realize it. What they're currently doing is not getting them to what they want. I asked them, everything that you're doing right now, is it going to get you to your goal fast enough? Or is it going to get to your goal at all? They'll say no. So now they realize they like, I can't force anybody to think. I can't force anybody to think a type of way. All I can do is just bring you to the cliff and see if you fall.
Yeah.
That's all I can do. So I just give you what you want. I asked you, is what you're doing going to get you what you want? You realize the disconnect, like, what I'm doing isn't going to give me what I want. And then you start figuring out, your body starts going to, I really want this thing, but I don't want to get rid of this thing. So like, then you're in this conflicted space now. It's like, okay, what do I have to do to get to what I want? What do I have to do to get this? And then the next part of that is full cycle framework. So the first one is desire. The second one is current habits. The third one is inversion. Like, so invert it. So everything that you're doing right now, I'm pretty sure if you invert it, you'll be successful. So for example, people that are overweight, for example, you're probably overweight because you're eating too much, you're not working out enough. If you invert that to eating less, working out more, I'm pretty sure you'll lose weight, right? If you're somebody that's, for example, you're working a job, but you're not having enough money at the end of the month, watch this. If you stop spending money on Netflix, if you stop spending money on this stuff, you stop spending money on all this food and fast food and stuff like that, if you start ordering food at home and decrease your expenses, I'm pretty sure you'll have enough money at the end of the month. So just invert everything that you're doing right now that's not getting you there, and I'm pretty sure it's going to get you at least a step closer to that goal. So I have them inverted. So if I have them list out all their current habits, impatient, undisciplined, over trading, like over leveraging, so over spending on a trade, right? List out all these different things. And I say, all right, bet, invert every single one of them. So they go patient, disciplined, trading, like 1 to 2, because the brain can only the person can only efficiently take 1 to 2 trades a day, maybe. We're like, we are only fit to make 1-2 important decisions a day. Entrepreneurs, traders, etc. Right? We're supposed to make 1 to 2 important decisions every single day. Jeff Bezos, he might take 1 to 2 decisions every day. That's really important for Amazon, and that's it. So I say, all right, bet, take 1 to 2 trades. So instead of over trading, like taking 5, 6, 7, 8 trades, take 1 to 2. That's it. It doesn't take that much brain power to do 1 to 2 trades, right? So instead of over trading, you flip it into 1 to 2 trades. Over leveraging, I'm only going to risk this much. Now you have a system now that you can follow for your strategy. And then we go into, I asked them what needs to be true in order for you to be disciplined. What needs to be true in order for you to be patient? What needs to be true in order for you to trade properly, right? And they say, oh, okay, well, for me to be patient, just wait. So wait for the setup. Cool, write it down. Cool, now, wait for the setup. What do I have to do to be disciplined? Have my plan and follow it. And then they start realizing it's really not that hard to actually do everything. And the problem, and then this is the next part that they have a problem with. They have new actions now, but the fourth step is new habits. If you don't have new habits, the actions don't matter. Because new actions new actions, habits are just actions repeated over and over again. Exactly. You have to repeat these new actions. So being disciplined is an action that you have to repeat over and over again until it becomes a habit. So usually it takes 30 days like to build a new habit. So be disciplined. So for trading, it's like you only have 20 trading days in a month. So I say a month and a half, like 30 trading days, be disciplined. 30 trading days, literally wake up and say, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm going to follow my plan no matter what happens, right? Just be disciplined for 30 days straight, 30 trading days straight, and you'll be good, right? You'll build the new habit because you have to get in the habit of doing it. Most people are not in the habit of doing the right thing, which is why they keep doing the wrong thing. That's the problem.
That's crazy.
They're so used to doing the wrong thing that it's so hard to do the thing that they know they're supposed to do. I don't understand that. So I'm like, all right, bet. Because again, if your brain is so used to habit, let's create new ones. So let's eliminate, because again, now if they know what they want and they know that they're the reason, like my goal with trading is I'm going to make this so simple that you realize that you're the problem. If you realize,
I ain't gonna lie. After this conversation, you making me realize that people are really the problem. Like it's not external stuff. just what you're doing.
Because if it was external stuff, it's like, if it was external things, then giving up would make sense. Like quitting makes sense. All that stuff. It's like, keep going. Like, you're the one that you have to wake up with yourself every single day. You can be a winner or a loser. You winning or losing is literally just based on your ability to put in effort. If you put in effort every single day and do what you're supposed to do, even if you fail, you did you did the best you can. Most people, they don't give the best they can, but they expect the best. It's like this, like, double standard. Oh, I want to put in very little work to get this much output. It's like, bro, all you got to do is this. This all you got to. It's like, for me, like, trading. There was two things. So back when I was a kid, 5th grade to 9th grade, I was always getting in trouble. I was always getting in fights, always getting in trouble and stuff like that in school. And I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do at home. I was not doing chores, etc. And I had this back, and I kept blaming everyone else. It was like, oh, it's this person, it was this person, it was this person. Then I sat in the mirror one day and I realized I was at 3 different schools: elementary school, middle school, and then this high school, right? Mm-hmm. I was at 3 different schools. There's not the same kids from those schools in these new schools. So it's new people at this school, new people at this school, new people at this school. And I was like, there's different people at this school, but I'm the only one that's at all of these schools. And all of these problems, for some reason, are following me.
You're the common denominator.
I'm the common denominator. And then I realized, like, I'm the reason that I'm having these problems. Yeah. And then I realized something, like, about fights. Here's how fights work. 2 people that are, if one person, like, okay, I'm gonna just paint this out. If 2 people are hitting each other, right? If one person's hitting another and this person's hitting another, what is that called?
A fight.
Okay. If one person is hitting somebody and then the other person is not hitting that person, what's that called?
Ass whooping.
Abuse.
Yeah.
Abuse, bro.
Abuse. Getting jumped, assault, etc. Right? Like, you're getting jumped by somebody, right? So if I'm fighting somebody, who's gonna get in trouble?
Both of y'all.
Both of y'all are fighting.
If one person, so I'll put it more like this, because people gonna be like, well, that's nah. So if both of us are offensive, we're both gonna be in trouble. Mm-hmm. If one person's offensive and one person's defensive, this person that's offensive is like, there's literally no room for me to get in trouble if I'm defensive. Yeah. So in an argument, what does it look? So if somebody's yelling at somebody else and the other person's yelling back, what is that?
They're both yelling.
They're both yelling at each other, arguing, complaining, right? If one person's yelling at somebody and this person's just staying quiet, just looking at the other person, what is that called?
Verbal abuse.
Verbal abuse, and you look crazy. Like, you just yelling at a person that's just standing there like this. It's like, you look crazy. The person that's yelling, the person that's just standing there, this person looks crazy. Because this person's just doing everything and this person isn't. So it's like, you realize that you're like, you don't have to engage. Right. You don't have to be a part of it. Like, oh, I was in a fight. No, okay, somebody called me out my name. I don't have to fight them. Like, my thing was, I had to do it because they did. If I did everything in my life based on other people, I would never be successful. That's what most people's problem is. Right. Like, oh, they did this, so I did this. I retaliated. The market, the market took money away from me. The market made me lose on this trade, so I got revenge by taking this other trade. But then you realize you lose. How you trying to have revenge against the market?
You can't have it.
That make no sense.
But they think that way because, again, we're so used to, if we get hurt, I got to hurt this thing back, or I got to retaliate because that's just an instinct, and you have to break that.
Where does that come from?
It just comes from, human instinct and just you...
Like, this person said this to me, I have to do this.
It's like you're trying to control things outside of you, but all you really can control is what you do. You can't really control it with the
people.
Wow.
You live a stressful life trying to control other people, trying to control other things you can't control.
This person called me this, so I'm trying to control how they
you know what I'm saying? You can't really
perceive me. Them. I have to fix how they perceive me, and the way that I'm going to do that is by fighting them.
I'm finna show you.
Imagine how mad people are. Let's say there's people in the world that's trying to change the direction the earth is spinning. Imagine how mad they are right now.
Bro,
because they can't change the direction of how the earth is spinning. You can't change it. It's like, you have no control over that. But I do have control over, like, people think they lack power if they can't control other people. But if you really, like, okay, I'll say this. And I'm not advocating for being evil. I'm not advocating for any of that stuff. If you really wanted to control other people, you would first master controlling yourself first.
Yeah, 100%.
Because if you can't control, like, for example, being a leader is literally you controlling you controlling yourself to a certain extent where you perform better than other people around you. And then from there, because you're naturally better in this environment, you're the leader now. Mm-hmm. If I conduct myself better than everyone else, I'm the leader immediately. But but most people, they want to be the leader, but they don't conduct themselves properly. And it's like, most people are put in a position of leadership, then eventually they get dethroned because they don't deserve it. Mm-hmm. Because they're not exhibiting the character traits they're supposed to have in order to actually have it. That's why they get dethroned. That's why they get taken over, etc. Like, you shouldn't be the leader. Like, and it's not, I don't want to say I don't understand, because I do understand. It just disappoints me.
Yeah.
Like, when I see people that everybody, because when I realize this too, everyone has the same capability to a certain extent. Like, if, for example, everybody has the capability to trade. If you got, like, even if, like, the only exception probably is if you don't have fingers to press the button and stuff like that. Yeah. Even if you even if you don't have that, you can still Neuralink. Yeah, you can still, like, there's the vision VR stuff you can use too to trade. Like, I saw that. That's crazy too.
That's crazy.
Voice activated trade. Like, you can, like, all right, enter me at a trade at this price. Like, I've seen people do that too. So it's like, there's no excuse. There's literally no excuse now. It's like, everyone has the capability, but not everybody has the willingness to do what they're supposed to do for a long enough period of time to get what they actually want to do. And they don't. So, like, even for me, like, when I do my class and stuff like that, my goal, and it sounds weird, but my goal is, again, it's two things. My goal is to simplify trading so much to the point where you realize that you're the problem. And then the next thing I do is just gaslight you. I gaslight people into, like,
fix yourself.
Till you fix it. Because, like, I can't make you do this, but what I can do is
make you realize that you need to do this.
Correct. Because I can't make you do better, but what I can do is make you feel like you want to do better. I can change this by, I can't make you, like, for example, if I call you a name or something like that, right? I can't make you change, like, for most people, I can't make them change how they feel and stuff like that. But if I put you in an environment where, like, so for example, I can't say, like, if me going up to you saying, you have a problem with trading, or you have a problem with this, this, and this, I'm just looking like I'm yapping at you at this point. It's like, you blush it off. If I make you realize it, it's like sales almost. It's like, I don't know if y'all done sales.
Yeah.
It's, it was the psychology thing.
Like, how have your last 5 trades been? Boom. How did those go? And then they tell you, then you be like, okay, I identified the one thing that you're doing wrong. But you're going to continue to ask them questions to be like, okay, what if you did this when you actually did this? Yep. How do you think, what would be the turnout of that? And then they go back and try it. And then you made them realize that this was a thing. You know what I'm saying?
They most of the time, again, you just need to put it in front of their face. Yeah. And you got to, with psychology, like, from what I learned from psychology, sales, from business, you have to take them down the path that you want them. You have to take, because again, the problem is they're veering off on the wrong path. So you have to align them on the right path by asking them a series of questions that make them answer. So like, for example, if I say, so even with the full cycle framework, the whole point of that is to do that. I'm not going to start with what I want you to do. I'm going to start with what you want. I'm going to start with the thing you want first. So I'm not going to tell you what you want. I'm going to ask you, what do you want? And you're going to say it. And then I'm going to ask you, what are you doing? You're going to realize it. You're going to say it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to literally boil it down. Like, even if you try to, like, you're not going to try to hide it, because it's like, oh, he's just asking simple questions. Mm-hmm. And then you start realizing and putting it together in your own head, because you weren't thinking like that before. Yeah. You didn't frame it that way in your mind before. You just thought, your previous thought was the market's the problem. But then when you realize that the strategy is going to yield this amount with or without you, but you're not following the strategy, then you realize, dang, I'm the problem. And then now, if you don't realize, you'll never find a solution if you don't realize that you're the problem. Yeah. Because you're going to keep staying in the same place. Most people don't realize that if they just do 4 things, then they will be successful. They will be, like, prosperous and stuff like that. So I just ask them questions like, if I make you say, like, okay, for example, I'm going to try to test this out right now. So I'm trying to think of some questions real quick. But okay, I'll try to test this out. Do you want to be successful?
Yes.
Okay, so how successful do you want to be? Like, just like, how successful do you want to be in the next 5 years?
Like, you want me to tell you what I want to attain?
Yeah.
5 years. Let's say I want to make 6 figures. By year 3, I want to be making 6 figures every year. I want to buy a house. I want to retire my parents.
Retire your parents, man. That's powerful. So you want to retire your parents? Like, what does that mean? Like, that means like, what does retiring to mean?
They just don't ever have to go clock in for nobody else ever again.
What would that cost? So that would cost like you probably gotta pay for their house. You probably gotta pay for their groceries and bills and stuff like that. So that might be. You want them to live good too.
Yeah. So I probably gotta be able to. Let's say I gotta be able to have about maybe $10,000 a month just for them. Just for them to retire.
Not
be
even
comfortable.
Yourself.
Not even me. Yeah. So
you gotta take care of yourself and you gotta take care of them. So let's say for you it might be. Let's say you walk.
It's gonna be. I need more than a 10,000.
Exactly. You might need like let's just say bare minimum. You need like 40, right?
40
a month at least. Bare minimum. You know what I'm saying?
So I need 50 a month for
50 a
me
month
and okay
for being there, right?
So that 100K ain't gonna work.
That 100K ain't gonna work.
Is that 100K?
6 figures. Like, it gotta be higher. So like $600,000, right? So if $600,000 is the goal, right? That's something you really want.
Mm-hmm.
You really want your parents to be good. Mm-hmm. Okay. What are you currently doing right now that's going to get you to the 6 figures in 5 years?
Okay, so right now, honestly, from having this conversation, I'm finna really start locking in and tapping into the trading.
Yeah.
I'm getting into audio production, so I'm trying to learn that, start selling music. I'm renting out cars, and I have a job that I do on the side, you know.
Okay, bet.
Yeah.
So with the music side of things, like let's say you were going to make $200,000 off of that specific thing, right? $200,000 a year off of that, and then the other two things you're making $200K off each. What would you need to do in order to make $200K a year off of that?
Off the music?
Yeah.
I need to develop some type of plan where I need to make the music.
Yeah.
So I have to formulate some type of system where I can output, let's say, at least 3 songs a week. I need to be able to make 3 songs a week. Then I have to figure out how to I need to form a plan to market these songs to get them in front of the artist that's gonna buy the beats.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I need to scale that. I guess, but the thing is, you can't really scale something like that because it's.
You can
unless
depending on.
It's because I'm making the music, so it's not like I can outsource. Like, hey, make this music for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's how you scale, though.
But there's levers like
it's like music. Like, I don't want to scale their music. This is my music. It's not really a.
You're not scaling your music. You're scaling your company as a music company.
There's different levers you can pull. So there's labor.
Marketing. I can outsource the marketing.
Correct.
While I'm making the music, I can be like, hey, can you do this marketing for me? That's what I can do.
But then
Correct.
You're only doing 3 songs a week, so you have to scale your production.
Okay, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. So I outsource the marketing, which gives me time to output more content and give them.
So you outsource the marketing. Now you have more time for production. You output 10 songs now.
10 songs a week.
You still have to scale past that.
Yep.
You have to scale you as a music company.
And that is why I have to diversify what I'm doing for income, because I cannot outsource and have somebody else producing for me. I mean, I can, let's say, source like maybe I have somebody make let's say you got drums in a song, you got the guitar, you got the piano, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I could be like, hey, can you make the drums? But then still, I feel like with music, it's something that I just have to do. It's not so much outsourcing, but that's why I gave you different things that I have to do. So the trading can make this amount of money. The car rentals can make this amount of money.
True.
The music can make this amount of money. So,
yeah. But to get that at 200K with the music.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was the thing. How am I getting 200K?
That's gonna be
How am I getting 200K?
You have to scale past just you being the person in production.
I think the scaling part would be just marketing, because let's say I make 1 song a week. If I can get this song in front of millions of people, a lot of people can buy it. You see what I'm saying? So it really don't even matter how much music I'm putting out. The marketing is way more important than the amount of content I'm putting out.
So how many influencers did you network with this week that have millions of followers?
9. This is something I'm still in the starting phases, so I'm not even really at the marketing stage yet.
Are you good at making beats?
I would say so.
Okay, so you already made beats already. You've already made beats and stuff. They're fire and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm asking again, how many people have you networked with this week?
I have not networked. Well, you know what? I posted for the first time. I posted on my story.
Okay.
I got a little under 2,000 followers, so I can say that's not really networking, but I just put it out there. That was my first time, putting it out there for the world to see, because this is something I've been closed off doing, making the music, not really speaking on it. So, but I haven't really networked at all. So
if you posted, let's let's say you posted, let's just say 50 times about beat or stuff like that on your story. If you posted 50 times on your story, let's say 10. Let's make it simpler. Let's say you post 10 times a week on your story about your beats and stuff like that for the next 5 years. Will you get to that goal?
10 times a week for the next
Just
5
on your
years.
story.
No, I don't think so.
If you switch this to posting on your story to reaching out to 10 people that are influencers and stuff like that have a lot of music and stuff like that, and you just send them the beat that you have, and then from there they might use the beat or something like that and you post it online. Or if you post 10 of your beats, let's say you post a beat on 10 different platforms or something like that for all, like for Instagram, like because we can use Instagram audio now too. So you could post a beat on Instagram and then share that, ask 10 different influencers or something like that, or people to post a song in their story and stuff like that, or in their reel. Like if you did 10 of those every single week, then that gets you to your 200K.
That would make it a lot more attainable, yes.
So why aren't you doing that instead of posting on your story?
I don't know. So is he gaslighting me right now?
Yeah. It's like it's just
He making you realize what you need to do.
Yo, okay.
the higher leverage thing. So the higher leverage thing is to leverage other people's audience, like media. Media is a leverage, so leveraging media. So how do you leverage media? Okay, there's other people that have influencers. Okay, how do I reach out to those influencers? Reach out to them.
Literally,
if you're good at beats and stuff like that, just reach out to them like, hey, I got this beat, It's on Instagram, my Instagram music and stuff like that. Post it on one of your reels or something like that. How much would it be to post it on one of your reels? And just do it like that. And just do that with, I'm pretty sure if you do that with thousands of people, like, pretty sure some of them's going to do it. And then from there, people are going to be like, yo,
then it's word of mouth.
That's word of mouth.
Got you. And that's why you say, are the beats good? Because they're going to speak for themselves. I just got to get them out there.
If you have a good offer, it's going to spread.
Got you.
That's why I say if you got a good community, it's like, look, if you got one person in there, they're going to tell one person. Then it's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Just because it's not even about the community. It's just about how good is it? And then is it worthy of talking about? And if it's not, no one going to talk about it.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that was actually
Nah, for real. Like, what the hell? I did have one question about. Well, I actually had 2 questions about trading. One, do you trade stocks or you just do calls and puts?
So
it is stocks.
Well,
he said futures.
I trade options and futures. So So I trade stock options, right? So stocks are different companies like Amazon, Apple, Google, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So I'll trade options on those companies. So for those who don't know what options is, I'm basically trying to explain it the best way as possible. If I buy a stock, I own that for the rest of my life, right? If I buy an options contract, that's a temporary thing. But what it allows me to do is increase my leverage. So I might spend $100. So let's say Apple stock is $150, right? So if I buy one share of that, or a share is basically a portion of Apple's companies, that's what a stock is, right? So if I buy one share, that's $150. If I buy an options contract though,
it's like 100.
It might be $100, $200, maybe $150 too.
100 shares.
100 shares. Yeah, I'm buying 100. I'm spending 150 on this options contract. So the options contract has 100 shares. So I'm spending $150 to basically control $15,000 worth of Apple stock.
Got you.
And then, but it's only for a temporary period of time.
Yeah.
So if Apple, for example, goes up $1 and I bought the stock, I will make $1.
Okay.
But if I spent $150 for this options contract on Apple, betting on it going up, and it goes up $1, I now make, again, $1 for every 100 shares that I control.
So just buying that. So the way you're doing it is it's more for short term. If you buying, so you
can do short term or long term, like either one. It depends. So there's different expirations and stuff like that for when you can buy options contract. Because remember I said it's temporary, so it's gonna eventually expire eventually. Right. So you can get some that might expire in a few days, right? You can get some that expire the same day. So like they're called 0 days, right? So they expire that day. Gotcha. So they're much more risky than if you were to get something where, like this is my mentor does, he'll get something that's maybe 180 days out or 200 days out, right? So it's like months out, 6 months, 8 months, 9 months out.
And those cost more.
Those cost way more. The reason they cost more is because you're more like, it's almost like saying, if you go a mile, right? Let's say you're in a car. I tell you to go a mile, but you only have, let's just say, you only have a few minutes, like to go that mile. You only have a few minutes to do it, right? It's much riskier. It's a tighter gap to hit that, right? It's a tighter gap to hit that in a few minutes. But if I tell you you got days or weeks or months to do it, it's like,
Okay, I can go
I
real
can do
slow.
that. Yeah, I can go
Gotcha.
slower. It's like the likelihood of you being successful is higher. So that's why it's more expensive.
Okay.
That's why it's more expensive. So like, again, the shorter term ones, I might only spend like $100 or $200, something like that, which you can still do it and stuff like that. Like I'll do that sometimes to day trade and stuff. That's fine. But the probability is higher if you get the long-term contracts and stuff like that, like swinging. So like when I spent $580 on Neo, I got that a month out, right? So when I bought it December 29th and it expired, I think in February or something like that, right? So I had a month basically until it expired. I sold it 2 weeks later. So I had 2 weeks. I'm chilling basically for 2 weeks versus if I was to buy a contract that expires in like 3 days, that probably would only cost like $50, $60, something like that. So much cheaper. But again, lower probability.
Got you. Okay. So you don't just buy stocks ever. You always buying the contracts.
I buy stocks to just invest. Like, so the part that I treat the stock market like my savings account. So I bet
Okay.
I have a list of stocks that I basically just put money into and stuff like that for shares. So if I have money I'm saving, I'll put it there.
Okay.
Like, I don't really need it necessarily to be that liquid.
Okay.
And then when I'm trading, I'll trade options and stuff like that. And there's also futures too, which is basically like, it's basically the same. It's very similar to options, right?
It's commodities, right?
Yeah, futures is more so futures. I don't know I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain this. So I'm either buying or selling the future price of this thing. So if I think this thing is going to go up, I want to buy it or purchase it at that specific price, betting on that it's going to go basically in that direction. It's the same thing as options. If I'm correct on the direction, so if I buy something and it goes up, I make money. If I sell something and it goes down, I make money. If I buy a call and it goes up, I make money, right? Now, the difference is how much money I make is dependent on how far it goes in my direction. So futures is basically, I trade it the same way as options. Only difference is...
One is stocks and one is outside of stocks.
Correct. Well, no, I could still trade because there's the S&P 500, which is the top 500 companies and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. There's the futures version of that, right? So I can still trade it. It's just a different asset class, basically. So it's basically, I'm trading the same thing, just in a different way.
Individual stock, you can't trade as a futures most of the time.
No.
But
right.
with like the S&P 500, which is a collection or a fund, they have a futures portion that you can do it with.
Because there's stocks, like stocks is an asset class. Futures is like its own asset bracket. Like you can trade like it's crazy. You can trade like corn futures. Like it's similar. You can trade corn, oil, wheat, milk, like different like entities and stuff like that. Or you can even trade like different things on the stock market, different things on the Forex market, like stocks, Forex, futures, crypto. Like those are asset classes pretty much. Not asset classes, but more so securities that you can basically trade, right? And they differ a little bit. And I'm probably not saying the right terms for people that might that are new traders, but I'm trying to explain it as simply as possible, just to take care of time. Because I'm just started trading futures, but I've mainly been trading options for the past 3 years. I started, So I'm starting to get into futures now. I like it so far, but I've been trading both.
Honestly, I hear so much about futures and options and stuff like that so much. It's like, it's so much risk to it, but there's a lot of benefit to it.
Yeah.
So what I want to ask you, like, what's one misconception that people have about trading? Because one that I had was literally that it was just charts. If I can read the chart, if I can predict if this candle is gonna be red or green, then I can make a good trade. But hearing from this conversation, you were just like, no, bro, that's just one way to do it. Technical analysis is one way to do it, but you can look at the company information. You can set up a system for yourself, And so what's one misconception that you would say is big that you see a lot of traders going through?
I think one misconception is they think, this is just my personal opinion, they think it's harder than it is. Mm-hmm. Because it looks complicated, they don't understand, right? So they might see the charts and they think
it just looks scary.
It looks scary.
That's what happened to me, for sure.
It looks scary. I was gonna say it looks scary because it's like, what the heck is going on? Yeah. Oh my gosh! But if you just look at it like, all it is like, if I watch, and I always do this too. I don't usually take it to the stock market. I just take it to what people already understand. So let's just say for us, right? If I tell you, boom, let's say there's some, the Jordan 11 Jubilees? Mm. So if I say, all right, bet, I want to buy that, let's say at $100, right? How much, do you think that's worth it?
Yes.
At $100?
Yes.
Now, if I tell you, okay, I want to buy them for $600.
No.
Nah. You're bonkers.
You're bonkers, exactly. But what you just did was you associated you basically you associated a value to this thing. And you said it's worth this, but it's not worth this. Mm. That's what a stock is. Okay, if I ask you Apple stock, do you think it's worth buying it at $90? What would you say?
Yes.
See, you don't know because you don't understand the thing that's being traded. You don't understand the value of this thing. That's the only reason it's confusing.
Wow.
Got you.
You understood Jordans, but you didn't understand the stock. So it's all you got to do is just understand the stock. Okay. So if you're into sneakers and stuff like that, you're probably looking up on, okay, how much are they selling for now? What's on the market? What's the demand for? Do people want it? Do people not? That's all it is.
Got you.
You're probably like, what?
Nah, that's blowing my mind. It was like you just don't have the information about the stock to make an educated decision.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
My thing was I always thought the stock market was so when I first started looking at the stock market, I was in college. Yeah. And I'm like, I was dabbling, and with crypto, I'm looking at it, and I was like, you know what, this is. First off, I wasn't knowledgeable on options at all. Yeah. I'm just looking at. That's why I asked you, do you just buy stocks? Because that's all I was seeing. And when I realized this is a space that you need money to make money. So I'm like, let me get out of here. This is not for me right now. Let me go work on something else, and I'll come back here later. What you saying is, no, you can hop in right now today.
You can start with. I started with $500.
Yeah, like you said, that's the first thing you said when you got here. And I'm like,
it's riskier to start with less, but you also can start with less too. You can start with there's options where you could trade day trade for $14, $50, something like that. It's really cheap. One of my friends started with $26 and she turned that into $26,000 in
$26,000
over a certain period of time. But I think if I'm not mistaken, I think it took a couple months or something like that.
You said how much she put in?
$26
to $26,000.
Because she traded one thing and then just compounded it. So $26 into $100 and then $100 into $400 and then $400 into. You just compound.
26, right? It's crazy. Off $26.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
But all it is just, again, consistency.
Can you leverage credit in the stock? Can you use credit to buy options?
Don't do that.
Is that a bad idea?
Do that, bro.
Don't do that, bro.
Don't do that.
Nah.
Don't do that.
But you can. Don't do it, but you can.
But recommend it? No. No.
You're playing so hard with your debt.
Only because, all right, you don't understand how to do it. For example, you understood Jordans, but you don't understand the stock. You're a beginner. So it's if you don't know, if you don't understand it, if you don't have a system, if you can't even prove, if you can't even follow your system, there's no way you should be borrowing money. Yeah. People borrow money because there's a level of confidence behind it. Gotcha. There's a level of discipline they have. So for example, people that get credit cards and stuff like that, they have the discipline to spend the money and pay it back.
Pay it right back.
They have the discipline to, I'm going to spend it on this, but I'm only going to spend based on what I'm capable of paying back.
Got you. Okay.
And then people that are undisciplined, they just leverage the whole thing and then they blow it because they weren't prepared for paying it back and being disciplined with it.
Got you.
So it's if you're not, I'll say this. Don't do that if you're not disciplined. If you're not able to trade, if you haven't proven yourself, don't do it.
Would you do it?
No. Well, now, no. Because I feel like there's more that I got to do. I feel like there's more that I got to learn. There's a level of confidence that I need to have because it's one thing when it's my money. Mm-hmm. There's another thing when it's other people's money and there's other things in balance of it. So for example, my personal or business credit, that's at the balance. Or definitely don't do this. Borrow money from other people. Yeah. If you borrow $10,000 from your friend or something like that, and then you put that in this, and then you lose the thing. It's now I lost that. Now that relationship is I gotta pay this.
Yeah, I gotta pay him.
It's I'm not doing that. It's no reason for me to do that, and I won't do that if I might. Now that I think about it, I might. But the only reason I might do that is if I want to keep myself liquid. So let's say, for example, I'll lower the numbers. Let's say I have 10,000, right? 10,000 liquid or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. And I say, all right, I'll borrow $5K to put into this trade because I want to keep 10K liquid just in case, just to have in my account or something like that. I'll borrow the 5K, put into this trade. Let's say I lose 20% on the trade, right? And I'm losing the trade, and I'm done at that point. I lost 20% of 5,000. That's 1,000. I can take 1,000 from my 10K liquid, put that into the account, and then make up for that.
Okay.
And then I'll just pay it back.
Okay. But you
I can
got,
do it
you
like
got
that.
the money.
I got the money now, but I got the money to pay for it. So that's why I wouldn't care at that point, because it's either I'm leveraging that or my money, but I have the money anyway, so I don't care.
Okay.
That's why. It's like, why use, it's like, don't over leverage a credit card if you don't have the money to pay for it.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's why like, even with,
That's outside of trading too.
yeah, that's outside
Like-
trading business. Like, that's what I'm saying. Trading is a business. So it's like, I look at trading like life. Cause I mean, there's literally people trading it. Like there's people, like individuals on the stock market imposing their desires and will. They want price to go up, so they buy. They want price to go down, so they sell. It's like, it's a moving ecosystem of people. It's like a society. It's almost like an economy. Well, it is an economy. Literally is an economy of multiple different people. So it's like, it's a living thing. So all I have to do is just understand the people. Like, what are they doing? What are they feeling? Are they feeling greedy or are they feeling fearful? If they're feeling fearful, they will sell. If they're feeling greedy or they feel like they want price to go higher, they'll buy. That's like what again, like the shoe market is like, just tell their sentiment. Like, do they want to buy this thing or not? If they don't want to buy it, I'm staying away from that junk. I'm saying this one, people are hyping this thing up. I'm seeing Twitter votes, like everybody likes this shoe. I'm seeing TikTok videos and they talking about it and everybody loves the shoe. Everybody think it's cold. I think it's cold. You know what? I'm going to try to get this thing at the best price I possibly can. And then from there, hopefully I sell it at a higher price. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just understanding the market that you're playing in. And then, but all you're doing is understanding the market. You're not understanding the shoe. You're understanding the market. Like, for example, you might think they're cool, but if no one likes it, everyone hates it, the value of it's going down.
Exactly.
Like, it's just going down. That's just how it is.
Got you. So you just got to study these businesses.
Yeah, bro, it's a studying game, man. Hey, if y'all have not learned anything about trading, you need to turn your volume up because my man has been spitting some game about trading the stock market. And as we wrap up, bro, like speaking of people, you know, listening and stuff, for someone that's Gen Z that wants to get into either stock options or futures, like what would you say is the number one step? And I know you have a community as well. You have classes, you have all of this stuff. Like, what would you say is the best first steps that they should take?
Sign up for your course. Go tap in with me.
It's funny because my belief system even is, and I've seen this with the community too, learn it for free. And then like learn it for free, make money, and then pay somebody. So like that goes for me too. So like I have a free community where I have courses and stuff like that available where you can learn and stuff like that. And the goal literally is join that, make money. Then if you want to move on to my pay community and stuff like that, then you can do it. But it's like, if I didn't make you money, I don't deserve it.
Got you.
So it's like, that's just my thing. Cause like I see so many people like they haven't made anybody money and they're charging so much. And it's like, bro, like, especially us like Gen Z and stuff like that, we don't have that much money usually. Usually we don't have that much money. Cause it's like, we're either not allowed to work or we don't do a lot of stuff, right? So like there's certain jobs we're not even allowed to have at certain ages and stuff like that. So it feels like we feel limited. But in reality, it's like it's unlimited. We just have to learn different skills that's going to allow us to make a certain amount of money. I'll say even if it's trading, whether it's business or entrepreneurship, like I don't really, dang, I got to sit on that one because I'm not really sure. Because if like, okay. Because so from the people that I've seen that are really young age, if you're young, your conversion rate is higher. Like on anything. I don't care what you're selling. I don't care if you're selling freaking mirrors. Like your conversion rate is higher just because you're younger, usually. So if you're like 13, if you're 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, even sometimes 17 and 18 years old, like you're going to sell more than somebody that's 28, period. So leverage that conversion rate and use that.
Why is that though?
Because again, like, okay, let me ask you this. If you go to Walmart and you see, you know, the little Girl Scout, she look really adorable.
Okay.
It's like, oh,
Okay.
You know, can I buy some
Makes
cookies?
sense.
You know, bet. I'll buy it.
Yeah,
If there's a 39-year-old woman
Like, bro.
standing out there with cookies, like, bro,
What are you even doing?
what are you doing? Exactly. It's like, get it out. So, like, we're more likely to say yes to the little kid
Okay.
versus the adult because, again, with adults, it's expected. With children, it's not.
Got you.
So when you see them doing something, it's like you want to support.
Yeah,
So leveraging that support and monetize, like you're looking at it like this is a business. Like, oh, if I talk to this many people, basically for some people, like, and I've seen this too, they'll talk to 100 people and get 80 yeses, 90 yeses, which is crazy. You're not treating that as
That's
like
insane.
It's insane. So it's like if you can get 80 yeses, 90 yeses, and the profit on all those yeses is, even if it's $20, that's like what is that? That's like if it's 80s, it's $1,600. If it's 90s, it's $1,800. At that age, like if you're 15, 14 years old, and then you do it again and again and again and again and again, it's like, right, you can compound. And then once you get to, like, let's say you do that for a week straight and get to 10,000, right? You get to 10,000. Now you can start reaching out to people that's like at a higher level. So now there's the entrepreneurs that's making 7 figures. Guess what you could do to them? You can go to a conference. You could pay like $1,000, $2,000 to go to a conference and then make yourself known at that conference. So you can make yourself known to that entrepreneur. You can make yourself known to those people there. Yeah. And you're the only young person there. So you're literally going to be, I promise you'll probably be spotlighted by the people there. And the entrepreneur there is probably going to co-sign you, because if you position yourself where they have no choice but to co-sign you, they will. Exactly. So like, for example, if I'm there and I'm in the front of the thing and I'm 15 in front of a business entrepreneur like conference or mastermind or something like that, and I'm taking notes, I'm asking questions. I'm over here, like when they do the Q&A thing where I have the microphone and stuff, I'm asking questions, stuff like that. Now it's like, if I ask intelligent questions and I show I'm really here and I'm really serious, even if I don't ask or not, like even, I'm pretty sure if you ask, you probably will get a yes. Mm-hmm. Even if I ask them to be my mentor, they probably will. Why? Because they might see something in me that they might be 30, 40 years old, but I'm 15. And it's like, yo, I see a lot of potential in this young man. I want to help him out. And by association with that person, that also helps them too. Exactly. Because if they help me get to a lot of money and stuff like that and build myself up, now that's also better for their brand too.
Okay.
So it's a win-win situation. But if you don't look at it like that, you will never ask, because you're like, oh my God, they're this big person. Like Trey Brown, who is his mentor? Like the first person like that we've seen. Like one of the first people. You don't remember? It's yeah.
Steve Harvey?
Not Steve. Well, good question actually. I think it was the person that I knew that he was talking about in the podcast was Neo. Nehemiah Davis. So Neo was his mentor and helping him with different things and stuff. And now if you see, it's funny because Neo's intro video literally has him saying that he helped Trey make $1 million at that young age, right? Like I said, it helps him. It helps his brand. It helps him and stuff like that. And also that's just what he wanted to do genuinely. It didn't hurt him. Like, all right, I'm going to take him to these places and show him like what this looks like. I'm going to help him build his business up and stuff like that. And now it's also like a goodwill thing for you, because it's fulfilling to help somebody.
Yeah.
Especially somebody that's young.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's fulfilling to you and it helps your brand and it also helps this person. And it's like all the kid has to basically do is just
put themselves out there, really.
Yeah, just be willing to do it. Because like if they're willing to do it, they're not gonna get like I want the Gen Z to realize, like, just because your parents tell you no doesn't mean that these people outside are gonna tell you no. Yeah. Like you might get no's and like stuff like that from your parents. When you walk outside, you might get no's, but guess what? You're more comfortable with the no's actually. But you're gonna get more yeses than no's. If you just ask properly, if you ask the right way, and you position yourself to attract attention and attract people, it's so easy. Exactly. That's what I did when I was young. Like that's why I got most of the mentors I got. When I came to Atlanta, the first thing I went to the conference and stuff like that. If they ever had a Q&A section, you always saw me there every single time. And I will always ask, I would write down a really intelligent question, and then I would literally intentionally do this. I'll drop my voice. I'll make my voice a little bit higher pitch, ask the question, and then they're like, yo, that was a great question. How old are you? And I'll make my voice normal again. I'll be like, oh, I'm 18, something like that. Yeah. And then they're like, yo, you're 18 and doing this. You're 19 doing this. You're 20 doing this. And then that's how I got in certain rooms. Cause I just ask questions and I would just make myself known. And then it's funny because after I did that, everybody else that was in the thing would come up to me and be like, oh, who are you? Da-da-da. What do you do? And then I got some one-on-one clients and mentors from that. And I got to do business with a couple people like that. Okay. I literally went to David Shands. He had multiple different events and stuff like that. And I would always ask Q&As. And then eventually got to a point where we was on a podcast and stuff like that on the network. Just by just asking. It's like, you just got to show up. And then if you show up and you do what you're supposed to do in business, right, you'll be good as a young entrepreneur.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, man, that was a jam-packed episode. Look, hey, shout out your Instagram or any plugs that you have. Like, just let them know to this camera.
Yeah. So what's good, y'all? So if y'all want to find me on any platform, it's CEO with Sean. And again, like I said, I wasn't lying about that. I do have a free community showing you guys how to trade. Right now it's called performance trading. So if you just go on my Instagram and stuff like that, you'll be able to find it. If you comment, if you comment the word group on my Instagram, you'll be able to, it'll automatically send you a thing. So you'll be able to go and access it. Again, it's a free group. You can go in there, access the courses, access the community, ask questions. And then from there, I want to be helping you guys out. And again, my goal is to make you some money so you can pay me. And then I'll make you some more money and you can pay me. And then the cycle can continue. And then I can hopefully make you as much money I'm making right now.
Wow. Wait, so I just go on your Instagram and type group under any post?
Yeah, if you text me, like DM me, or if you comment on a reel, or if you comment on my story, or if you comment on my live, like,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I have to shout out to AI. I got different things set up where it'll notify me and stuff like that, and then from there I'll be able to message you.
Okay, cool. Gotcha.
Hey man, text group ASAP if you want to get this trading information. Start off in your journey, or you're just looking for a community to be in. You know, hit up my man Ashawn. But yeah, man, this has been the Pure Intentions Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications and what?
Send it to the group chat.
Send it to the group chat. Send it to your auntie, your brother, your sister, your friend that you just made yesterday. And yeah, if anybody, nothing else to say.
Ain't got nothing else.
And that's Pure Intentions out.
Pure Intentions out.